back to the whole podcast, KC, where we have some of our Kansas employees today. Anthony Sutton is back with us again. He is on the Missouri side. And then we have Evelyn Clark with us here today. And she is our office manager in Kansas for Kansas payroll. So today we're going to be talking about our HCBS services, which is home community based services. So we're going to give a little bit explanation of what that is before we get into the question. So, Anthony, can you just describe to our listeners what HCBS is?
Yes, I can. Um, HCBS is Home Community Based Services. It's for the Kansas residents, but it's kind of like the Missouri residents. They call it CDS in Missouri, Consumer Direct Services. It's the same thing, just different names for different states.
Okay, got it. Um, so, can you explain to the viewers what that is exactly? What that is for the Kansas residents?
Yes, basically, it's a thing where the state of Kansas will provide independent living for the residents of Kansas
Okay,
off Medicaid. And what they'll do, they call it PCAs. It's the same thing over in Missouri, but in Kansas they call them PCSWs.
okay. And what does that
And
stand for?
that's a personal care service work.
Okay.
And that person will come into the home, help with housekeeping, meal preparation. They
So
help.
this is for people with disabilities that may need some additional services around the house or may need some additional help around the house, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
got it. So if somebody wanted to use this service, what does that look like? How do you get that started?
Okay, how that looks like, you would go in Kansas, it's called the Can Care Medical System. And what they'll do, they have 3 MCOs, which they call the managed care organizations. In which they'll do, they'll assign you one of them. Either it's going to be either Sunflower, Aetna, or United Healthcare
Insurance company.
insurance company.
Mhm.
So the insurance company then assigns that?
Yes,
Okay, so
it'll
I
go
know
through
on the
your
Missouri side, you're able to choose your own.
right. It's same thing in Kansas. You can choose between those three.
Okay,
Okay, so then just say you choose United Healthcare, and United Care say you say, "Hey, I need home health services," and they'll have a person come out to your home and do an assessment on you.
okay,
And during that assessment, then they'll be able to tell you what you qualify for, what you don't qualify in Kansas.
gotcha. Okay, awesome. So Evelyn, how did you get started in CBS services?
HCBS services. Um, I used to work for the CDS program when I first started and then transferred over to the Kansas side. And I've been here ever since. It's been about 11 years now
Oh,
yeah.
great.
So I enjoyed, we have a lot of consumers that use our program and you just get attached to them.
Sure, I understand that. So how does HCBS tie in with our core services here at the Whole Person?
Oh, I get yes, it ties in our with our core services because we offer the same peer groups that's offered in Missouri, it's offered in Kansas too.
Okay,
So each consumer, they have that opportunity to choose which one they want to attend. And we ask, they can, in other words, we might have it in Missouri as far as one meeting in Missouri, one in Kansas, or if any type of assistance they need, it's the same thing. We
okay,
have those same resources that does Missouri and Kansas.
And we also
gotcha.
provide getting social once a month. Normally, we've been doing it at the Kansas Library, trying to make it as far as close on the bus line for a lot of our Kansas residents that don't have transportation. So that's been a plus.
Okay, and is that's usually the last Friday of the
That
month?
is
Is that
correct.
correct?
The last Friday of
Okay,
each month.
okay, and that's from 1 to 3 at the library
At the
on.
library. Normally, it's the library. I know they're looking for different locations, but so far it's just been
It's
at the
always
library.
yeah, it's a great general location, I feel like, and like you said, it's right off the bus line, which is
Right.
very helpful for people that
Absolutely.
need that transportation
So
assistance.
last year, I do want to share with you one time, one month, I can't remember what month it was. We were able to do it at the park and we did a potluck. And we had a lot of our consumers and PCSWs come in, and we were able to talk about safety as far as fire safety and emergency safety as far as weather-wise, and we were able to provide free radios to them as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, in your experience, what sets this program different? How is it different from other nonprofits and organizations that provide this service for HCBS? Like, what sets it?
To be one of the major things is the programs that they offer in Kansas. Like in Missouri, I think that one of the major differences they offer what they call it sleep cycle support.
Right, yeah,
In Kansas, that's what they offer. In Missouri, they don't.
right.
Okay.
So in other words, that worker, you could have that same worker, this is a PCSW, personal care system assistance worker. That same worker can work during the day, clock out after they get done with their housekeeping, laundry, or what have you, and
Mhm.
also clock right back in under the sleep cycle and still get paid for being there with that consumer at night. Because some consumers may maybe need assist in the middle of the night, maybe getting help and back to the restroom or what have you. Any little thing they might need
Right.
at night.
Okay.
I do want to clarify one thing with the HCBS enhanced services for the night support. The consumer has the option to choose as far as 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, or 9 hours per night. And that's their choice. We have nothing to do with that. As long as they're approved for it, they can choose. A lot of our consumers are using the 6 hours, which I would prefer for them to use a little more hours during the night because at least they're there all night long and not by themselves.
Right.
But it is their choice.
Okay.
It's the pay rate change.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how is HCBS different from the CBS services in Missouri? Is
Well,
there a
one
lot of
thing I
difference?
can tell you about CDS is that they're lucky that they're able to have case managers, meaning here through the whole person. Unfortunately, with HCBS, we're not allowed. So we are not case managers at all. And a lot of our consumers assume that we are case managers, and we're not. Case managers are provided by their insurance companies, which is the Sunflower, Aetna, and United Healthcare. So if there's any issues going on with their insurance, we just have to send them right over to their case managers.
Okay. So
hmm
we can't assist with that on the
We
Kansas side
can't.
like we can on the
We sure
Missouri.
can't. I mean,
Okay.
there's many things that our consumers are needing, and unfortunately, we can't help them with that because we're a payroll agent.
Right. Okay.
So,
Okay. That makes sense. All right. We're going to pause real quick for a break and we will be right back.
At TWP Catering, we are more than just mouth-watering sandwiches and salads. We're on a mission to make a difference.
How do we do this? By empowering individuals with disabilities to learn essential cooking skills through our Employabilities program.
Every bite you take supports a brighter future for someone striving to be more competitive in the job market.
TWP Catering, where every sandwich, salad, and dessert serves a purpose. Order with us and make a positive impact today. It's catering with the social conscious.
All right, welcome back. We are going to continue with the HCBS talk. Um, let's go back a little bit and just kind of explain maybe to the listeners how that process works again. So if they are interested, what do they do? Do they go to our website to apply? Do they have to go to the state website and apply? What does that process look like?
Yeah, okay. Basically, that process look like they'll get qualified for Medicaid through the Care health system. And so they'll offer those three managed care organizations for that consumer. They'll say, hey, you got your choice between United Healthcare.
And they do that on our website?
No, they'll do that before they even, right when they get qualified.
Okay.
So they
And
have
how
to
do they
pick
get qualified?
is when they apply for the Medicaid.
Okay.
That's when they'll get those options.
Okay.
on
I
the
gotcha.
Medicaid application, there is a box that you do have to select. Under medical assistance, the box is under HCBS, which includes assisted living. They have to mark that box. If they don't check it, they will not have the HCBS services.
Okay.
So that's really important. We have a lot of our consumers who lose their benefits for not doing a new assessment or reassessment. they have to reapply, and that's something that they always miss. Then they're gonna have to end up going through the whole process all over again. So,
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
yeah,
Paperwork and those applications
yeah,
are
yeah.
not easy. Okay, so they have to check that box, and then once they do so, then they can choose through the insurance, the 3 insurance.
Yeah, so like Anthony was saying that there's 3 insurance companies they have to choose. Once they choose the insurance company that they want to select, there is a 800 number on the back of their insurance card. They can call them directly and say, "I would like an assessment for in-home care services,"
Okay.
which is the HCBS service. Once they ask for that, they'll transfer them over to the right department. They'll do a quick assessment over the phone. It has to be the individual who needs the service to do it. And once that is completed, they will make contact with them when they come out to do the home visits. Now, since COVID restrictions have been lifted as of November 11th, they are going out to the homes. So they will go out and do a full assessment on them. And that's where they'll find out if they're eligible for their services. Just because they're calling doesn't mean that you're going to be eligible for it. They have to go out and do a complete assessment on them. And if they are eligible, they will leave them a list of different organizations like us, the whole person, to select as far as their payroll agent. Um, Anything else, Ant?
Yes, depending on their requirements, that's when they'll know what waiver. We have 3 programs waivers that we do in Kansas. We have the PD waiver, which is physically and disabled waiver. We have the TBI waiver, traumatic brain injury waiver,
Mhm.
and we have the FE waiver, frail and elderly waiver. And when they do their assessment, they'll assess which waiver you qualify for.
Correct. Yeah. And the frail and elderly is normally 65 and older, is the waiver that they use for them.
Mhm.
It's not our choice to select waiver wise. It is the insurance company who selects that. And they are the ones who select how many hours they're eligible for. And if they are eligible for the night support, which is the enhanced services as well.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, I think that does a good job of outlining of how that works because I know these things can be confusing to the consumer sometimes,
Absolutely.
as I've used some
And
of
what
these.
I would recommend if they have questions in regards to HCBS, they can contact us here directly. They can call the 913-871-4188 number, or they can go on our website. And there's like a little questionnaire that they can just mark on there what they're interested in, and we will return their call and answer their questions.
Okay. All right. Anything else with the process?
I can tell you this as far as the process. A lot of people think just because the individual, meaning case manager, comes out and does the assessment on them, they think that their services will start immediately. That is not true. It could take up to 2 to 3 weeks before the process is completely done, meaning they have to end up putting all the information into the system. Once we receive the care plan, which is the enhanced the ISP. We call it the ISP, but it's a care plan, and it tells us as far as the consumer's name, address, phone number, and also how many hours they're eligible for. Once I've received that, or Anthony does, we will contact them directly and let them know we received your services. You're eligible for such and such hours, and this is your waiver. And they have to come into the office to complete a contract on behalf of the whole person.
Okay.
That's when they're gonna end up bringing their new worker, the PCSW, as far as, to complete an application on their behalf, and what happens then is that once the, PCSW completed it, our process is that we're gonna run all the background checks on behalf of the consumer. The worker cannot start until all the backgrounds have been completed and they are cleared to work. Once they have, we will give them training as far as using the phone system, which is called Authentic Care. And then we teach them from as far as clocking in and clocking out.
Okay. Great. Thank you. That was a great overview of the services. I think that makes it a lot easier for folks to understand.
Yeah.
I know you said, since you've been here 11 years and you've kind of get attached to the consumers, do you guys have a story that you could share with us that really sticks out in your mind when it comes to these type of services or something that you helped somebody get through?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. There was a consumer we once that was with the whole person in Kansas on the HCBS services. And with her, I remember when she first started, and she had so many questions. She would call daily and ask, and that's one of the things that we do offer the service. If you have any questions on anything or how it runs or what you can do and what you can't do, feel free to call and ask. I think that separates us from
Absolutely.
a lot of
Mhm.
different agencies because if we don't know the answer, we'll find it
We're gonna
for you.
find out, right,
Sure.
right.
Sure.
And
Okay.
she would call, and because she didn't know that she could get enhanced services, which is the sleep cycle support.
Right.
'Cause she would sit at home at night by herself. Like, no, you can have support for you at night, someone that can help you, transfer to the rest, back and forth to the bathroom or what have you, or just anything you might need.
Right.
And she goes, "Oh, I did not know that." And like, yeah, so we help get her set up for that, and just little questions, or as far as how being a consumer, as far as how to schedule your workers and everything for to make sure they come in and out and everything. And she had a lot of questions on that, and she was one of the persons that after about I say what about a year of us just keep constantly calling her, she became a pro at it, and
Yeah,
she was
she was our
so
friend.
good. She was so excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and she would like do the research on her own thing and
Mhm,
kind of figured out, oh, I can do this now.
mhm.
I didn't know. They didn't tell me that. I didn't know I had those services.
Yeah.
It
I
was
feel like sometimes they don't do a great job of telling you everything that you could be eligible for.
Right,
right, because I think some consumers, they just think because they're qualified, they don't really look at all the other things you're qualified
right.
to get.
Right.
And with the whole person, we're going to let you know, hey, you can also get this. Transportation, you can also get this,
Yeah.
Right.
and so it's like one of those things where I think we're very open to. And she was one of the ones that sparked up because I seen her when she first started, and she just basically knew she was qualified and was happy to be qualified, just getting some assistance, but just
Sure.
letting know all what was out there in that
Right,
community for her that she actually qualified for.
right.
Right. Okay.
She would make special visits to the office and just to come and say hi.
Aw.
And a few
Mhm.
times she would bring us lunch and we'll sit in a conference room and we'll just talk with her and she'll
How
really be
sweet.
missed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some great
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah.
So what are there any changes or advancements in the program that you guys would like to see happen?
Mine, I would suggest that I wish we can get our case managers back. That will be the number one thing for me.
And how can you advocate to get those back?
It's hard. I mean, they have these meetings. I don't know how so often they used to do it quarterly, right, Aunt? I mean,
Yeah, we used to do it quarterly, but the deal is in Kansas, when they moved their Medicaid system over to the managed care organizations, that took away those case managers.
mhm,
So now they have the managed care organizations taking position of those case managers. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you're with United Healthcare,
Mhm.
they have a caseworker for you, not the agency anymore. It's the actual. So it's
right.
a whole different process as
Yeah.
far as, but it's just the way that Kansas has their Medicaid system set up. They changed it over. It's just not one thing anymore. Now they got to go through three different, depending on which insurance company you pick. That's the one you go with. If you pick United Healthcare, then you got to talk to that caseworker
The United
from
Healthcare.
United Health.
Yeah. And there's a lot of other different waivers that other insurance companies use, but the whole person currently only offers frail and elderly and TBI, traumatic brain injury, and the PD, uh, the
Phys-
self-direct services for physical disability. So um, it's it's one thing that I would fight
Yeah,
for
it
as
sounds
far
like
as to
it's
get those case
missing.
managers to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything, or do you agree with Evelyn on that one?
Well, it is for the HCBS services, it's dealing with the budget of Kansas
Hmm.
Yeah.
that they have. So
Always.
that's one of the reasons they went to the managed care organizations because of their budget for Medicaid. Because all the services, that's why I always specify to the consumer, you have a lot more services out here. You got to use, not,
Right.
don't just use the worker, your PCSW services. You've got transportation, you've got enhanced services, you've got peer group, you've got,
Support groups.
support groups,
Hmm.
everything, it's out there.
Yeah.
You just got to use it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And you don't have to use any funds of your own.
Right.
Instead of you having to go, just say, for example, maybe our issues picking up a prescription, you can have it delivered to you.
Right.
Right.
You have that service.
Yeah.
It'll be packaged for you and everything. They'll just knock on the door and here's your prescription.
Right.
If you need a way for doctor's appointments, we have transportation.
Right. For like medical appointments.
Right, for medical
Yeah.
appointments.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think a lot of times too, like I said earlier, they just aren't informed enough about everything they can get.
Right.
Yeah.
That was one of the key things about uh, the centers not having their own caseworker because each one is different. We're not the first one they talk to now they
Right.
talk to,
They're already along that line in the process where they already
yeah, and they're so
have
happy
signed
to
up.
be qualified for it. They don't really get into the details of what all.
Well, also, right, Aunt, there's a waiting list for well, frail and elderly. We've been getting more consumers for frail and elderly. As far as TBI and what's the other one? The
BPD,
PD,
yes,
physical disability one. Those are the ones that we have a major as far as a waiting list.
correct. There's a waiting list for PD, and because that's one of the easiest waivers to get on.
Okay.
The TBI waiver is a harder waiver to get on. There's no waiver for the frail and elderly because if you qualify for that waiver, you qualify for all the other ones. The PD waiver is more specified to your needs,
Okay.
Yeah.
and so it's a little more difficult.
The frail and elderly, it's very limited for
Yes.
them due to their age.
Correct. 65 and over.
Right.
65 years and over is basically you're going to qualify for that.
Right.
Okay.
But the TBI waiver, the hourly rate for that waiver is a lot more, but it's harder to qualify
Right.
for that waiver. And then that's when you'll have more cognitive classes that you have to attend because you're on that waiver.
On the TBI, right. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. So if somebody was a personal care attendant, is that it's not the right term for Kansas. So if they sign up through doing that or they sign up through the whole person, what are the benefits of that? Through signing up through the whole person versus other agencies.
Okay, well, the benefit of that is because any questions that personal care is called a PCSW, personal care service worker. Any questions they have, they can feel free to give the whole person a call, and we can help them out as far as what's all that consumer qualifies for that they can do. And so it also will help because a lot of people think, well, especially a lot of workers, they think, well, only thing I do is laundry, housekeeping, and meal preparations. Like you can actually do more than that if you wanted to.
Right.
If you wanted to assist with the consumer to take her to or go with her to a peer group,
Right. Okay.
which will gain knowledge for you, as far as in the future, or if you want to get some assistance with getting your licenses, CNA license, come talk to us. We can help you get that.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's
Good to
little
know.
things like that
Right.
that they're just thinking they're just
We have this
there.
extra benefits.
Right. They're
Yeah.
just thinking they just do housekeeping and laundry or whatever, what have you, and that's it. No, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. I know we kind of covered this earlier too. What's the best way, if one of our listeners was interested, to get started on the HCBS services? Just to go to our website or give us a call? Is that the best
Either
way?
or. I mean,
Mhm.
either or. We respond to the internet services every single day. We are here from Monday to Friday from 8:30 till 4:30 p.m. And they can leave a message and we'll call them back the next day.
Okay. And what's
Just
a
in
great
case.
phone number for them to call?
It's going to be 913-871-4188.
And then they can also apply on our website. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And
And
that's the
our
whole person.
website is www.thewholeperson.org.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks so much for being on here with us, guys. We really appreciate it. I know it can be confusing to our consumers when, thinking about getting into these services and knowing what they might be eligible for. So I think that that really gave a good idea of what that looks like in the
Absolutely.
process. So yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thanks so much again, guys, and we'll see you next time. All right, as always, our events at the end of our show. So we do have the rock climbing second Saturday of the month, and then we have bowling the third Wednesday of the month in KCK. You can check the calendar on our website for those events. That's thewholeperson.org. And then we do have our pickleball and cornhole tournament coming up. So hop online and sign up for one of those. And if you are interested in a sponsorship, you can also find that online as well at thewholeperson.org/big deal. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.